Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know how we previously talked about how Finnish is the original language, and then also how Hebrew is the original language? Nah, hey, all wrong, all wrong. I found something even better. Russian is the origin of language. Yes, indeed. If you look throughout history, if you look at all Vedic scripture, you look at all Roman scripture, all the Norse scripture, you see Slavic, which means something, right? Well, of course. It means that Russians came from Mars and have once colonized all of Earth. And they're telling us this by hidden Cyrillic messages throughout history that we have to unpack and see to find the truth. So this wacky theory is created by Valery Chudinov. Some of you might heard of him, and he's growing popularity as of late, and I just found out about him, so I had to do a video about him. So Chudinov is not a nobody. He is a professor. he's academically content. Yeah, he's high up there in the academics. He has written over 700 articles and books, and he's a philosopher. So, you know, he's quite he's not a small person. And he started this journey of Cyrillic findings by looking at old archaeological findings and finding hidden Cyrillic messages. And the question is then, how the hell do these old things have Cyrillic in them? One of the things being Leonardo da Vinci's Jesus. You can see clearly how there are Cyrillic messages hidden within the colorings of Jesus, or this old Egyptian head of it too. You can see clearly. So if you take out sort of the paints and take out how the coloring is formed in certain areas, you can see clear Cyrillic messages. And this goes way back, you see. So he made a connection that this Cyrillic needs to be coming from somewhere. You know, the Cyrillic messages can't be coming from nobody. It can't be coincidence. So he tried to look back as far back as he could go to find how far these Cyrillic messages go, because it should give us a message on, for how long Cyrillic has been in existence. And the more he looks, the more further back he sees. I mean, he even found out that the Etruscan has some connection with Cyrillic. This is 3,000 years ago. And how, in many ways, the Etruscans had very Cyrillic culture and language in them. A lot of their clothing styles and the rest are very Cyrillic-like, very Slavic-like in their way of being. And over some time, he actually did find out where exactly this came from. I'm going to read this from the Reddit post, very brief. But I do recommend you actually looking at it yourself. 250,000 years ago, around then, we can actually find Proto-Russians, yeah? So the Russians during this time was the only developed human race, while the rest of the humans were, whatever, Homo erectus, whatever the fuck they were back then, not relevant at all. But the Russians were fully formed Homo sapiens sapiens, you see, but they came from Mars. But they did start in Russia, and then they start spreading downwards. It took them some years to do so. Went over to India, Arabia, and the Far East. And it's also very important to remember that there was actually sort of Russian principalities in Italy that then formed the Roman Empire. Alexander the Great, for example, are using Russian regiments to fight. What the hell am I reading? The Romans provoked the split of the Russian air forces in 1191. What? Which at the time consisted mostly of Martian pilots, and started the war on dying Mars, being unable to resist without the main military force, bogged down in internal problems. The Rus started to fall apart. The world-sized empire ceased to exist, and its military capital, Moscow-Yaramari, and the remaining loyal air forces finally surrendered to Rome in 1191. What the hell? 1504, Isaac Resen, the prototype of Jesus, is born somewhere in the Martian catacombs in the region called Ray. He arrives to Earth and propagates his religion, which would eventually become Christianity in 1504. What? Isa, meaning Jesus, falls into a coma after he's hit in the head with a spear of Longius. His disciples arrives and takes the body back to Mars. This is where the reincarnation would have been. The Roman dynasty, together with Masons and the Pope, destroy all traces of Ruric Rus, eventually erasing it from history, along with the information about the Martian origin of Christianity, and create the official history we were taught in schools in the 17th to 20th century. What the fuck? So, okay, very important to remember then. The information we have today is made by the Masons and the Pope to tell them that Martian air fighters, Martian Russian people rule the world. Well, Europe, that is. By the way, they couldn't rule America because America was Ice Age. It was pure ice in America, so no ruling that. All right. Okay, you guys gotta read this yourself. I don't know how to start it, but the man is high as whoa, crazy man. All right, just to go back to reality for a bit here. This guy, no one takes him serious. Don't worry about it. Like, this all is unscientific as hell. Plus, this guy usually sees patterns where there is no patterns at all. For example, someone gave him a false pyramid, like a prototype 3D printed pyramid, which was fake, just to mock the guy. And he started seeing patterns in it too, which makes no sense because it was a fake pyramid. He also was claimed up photoshopping once, but it is what it is. But also, like, whenever he sees an image of the sun, he starts seeing patterns. He sees pattern in anything, just anything he can imagine. So yeah, anyways, regardless of that, I might be wrong, he might be correct. I mean, the Pope and the Masons have lied to me. I am very, like, as we know already with Russian history and how the Masons have lied, I could be all wrong. So, do learn for yourself, and just know that Elon Musk is a secret Martian spy planning to take us back to Mars, because we're all Russians and shit.